This is Sense, the 4th episode of Welcome to Fairmont. Thanks for your attention. Welcome to Fairmont is a WKET production created by Colleen and myself, Alana Orion. As this is the 4th episode of the year, there are 3 episodes that came before this. If you haven't heard those or want to listen to them again, you can look us up on YouTube. We're just called Welcome to Fairmont.
Hello, listeners. In the 2 weeks since we were last on, we've learned more about the prophecy that Misty shared with us. In fact, events have already started unfolding to shape it. We're on to tell you about it today. As always, I'm Psyche.
And I'm Harmony. If you've been listening, you'll probably know that our weather person, Jack Carmody, has been sending a call to action out over our airwaves. Well, the call has been answered by not only you listeners, but the board as well.
Now, I know that a lot of you don't make it to the board meetings, so you may not know what it means for them to hear about something. It means, of course, that there's a chance for change, but it also means that Carmody is currently preparing himself for the trials of the board, the grueling tasks that become necessary to communicate with their bureaucracy.
Which is why we're lucky to have him on with us today. Welcome to our show, Carmody.
Thanks, Harmony. As you may know, listeners, I've been pushing for the addition of nighttime classes to accommodate the natural schedules of Fairmont's abnormally large undead population. Since the merge, I've been able to expand my research on the topic beyond mere surveys and local studies of the success rates of our undead classmates. In the past couple of months, I've been able to collect data from other schools in our region, including a few that offer classes during the darker hours of the day. The change I have planned includes not only an addition of a few classes, but in fact a whole system to offer school itself at night.
Wouldn't something like that renew the tensions from last year between the living and the dead?
It could, and that is one of the concerns we're looking to address. It is my opinion that school being offered at night isn't just for undead, but also for many other people who could benefit from having the daylight hours free from the commitment of school. The increasing use of the electric light bulb over the last century has made it easier than ever before to function at night, which opens a lot of opportunities for us here.
What are some things you're hoping the board will take under consideration as you go through this process?
Well, the biggest thing, I think, will be getting them to look at my research and how it supports this movement. Of course, the presentation of it will be important as well, and I've been working with Misty on that, so that makes the best possible impression on them. She's actually been a huge help so far in this process, and I'm incredibly grateful for the support from her and from you two as well. Getting to use this platform to talk to the people in the community has been a huge reason that this movement has gotten as far as it has. So thank you for opening up this opportunity for me and letting me come on your show.
It's always a pleasure to have you. Up next, we have updates on the goat situation from last time, and new information on what the Order of Kings has discovered about the imbalance in people's lives. But that will be right after our mandatory public service announcements.
Have you ever wondered what lives in the forests that surrounds our town? Well, now's your chance to find out. The Nature Service Group, in conjunction with the local poltergeist examiners, are funding a 3-session learning opportunity to let you know all about the things that might like to eat or tickle you to death in a safe, fun environment. So if you're someone who likes to learn about the natural world around you, be sure to check out their schedule on their website. The Nature Service Group, in conjunction with the local poltergeist...
We all hear that self-care is important. I'm Harmony, and I'm here to tell you about one of my favorite self-care techniques, meditation. With meditation, you too can get lost in the web of your mind. Never come out of the mazes of thoughts and regrets. They'll pull the plug soon. Meditation. Clear your mind.
Thanks for staying with us, listeners. As promised, we've got an update on what happened at the coffee shop around the corner 2 weeks ago. In that time, Lydia dug up some information for us, and it has been discovered that the mysterious tall strangers in trench coats who were actually goats standing on top of one another were deliberately sent there in that fashion.
Now, before you go spreading rumor about this, I want to clear some things up. I didn't do it to cause any trouble.
We weren't going to say it was you.
Well, in that case, it wasn't me. I had nothing to do with this.
Yeah, sure.
We're just going to be moving on then. The other community news update we have for you today is about the mental instability of the people who have been having difficulty with reconciling their 2 sets of memories.
The local chapter of the Order of Kings has been conducting research into the problem over the past several months and trying to use their knowledge of what they call magic to help fix it. Thus far, they've been able to trick people's minds into keeping the 2 tracks of memories completely separate from one another. Though, getting more than every 7th school day to match up with a day outside is proving a difficult task. According to their reports on the subject, most people who were seniors last year remember approximately 13 years worth of days at school, and only the normal 4 years outside of it.
Depending on the severity of the case, the current solutions range from a complete reconciliation of the two timelines to crudely severing them from one another, where the memories have to be accessed individually. Fortunately, research continues, and it is expected that a permanent solution will be offered by the end of the school year.
I'm glad to hear that they're probably going to be able to fix it. It sounds like an uncomfortable situation to be in, at the very least, and I can't even begin to comprehend.
I can't either, really. Anyway, we have more for you about the prophecy, but first, Harmony is knitting a scarf, and she's very proud of it, so she wanted everybody to know. Also, if you're hearing a slight clicking, that is definitely the knitting needles. This is going to be it for the community news updates for the day, so we will now be taking you to the weather.
Hello again, listeners. Not much has changed in the way of the weather in the last 3 days, and you can expect a continuation of this blizzard into Monday or Tuesday next week. Visibility continues to be low, and we're still not sure if the sun is up. So make sure you've taken the necessary precautions for this and are carrying your lawfully mandated flamethrowers and gas masks at all times until this storm decides to let up some.
Thanks, Carmody.
You heard earlier from Carmody himself about his journey thus far in making a change by the school board. We have since had Lydia digging up information for us so that you can hopefully get a clearer picture of what is happening during this process.
We also have Misty back on our show by invitation this time. That might be a first, actually. Anyway, between them, we hope that we'll be able to piece together most of the story here. Friends?
Hello again, everyone. Lydia.
Hey, where do you want to start?
Well, I was thinking we could start with, how did she phrase it earlier? The grueling tasks that became necessary to communicate with their bureaucracy. I think it's important that our listeners know a little about the process of getting a hearing with the board and what comes after.
Yeah, from my research, the first step is always getting the board's attention. I hear that you usually need to do that with a bunch of flags or something, but eh.
In this case, it was being on the radio at the right time.
Exactly. Then you have to attend a preliminary meeting of absolute silence, followed by a hearing.
I wasn't allowed to go to those, but I heard about them and they must have gone well. After that, you have to prepare a presentation to convince the board of the validity of your claim.
And doesn't it have to be in some sort of special format? Because the board doesn't have the same 5 senses most people have, do they?
No, they don't. They have other subtler senses. Light even hurts and confuses them. So the presentations need to be done in a way that caters to that. Creating something like this is like walking a fine line between madness and death. But if you stay on it, you'll be perfectly fine.
And that's what you're helping Carmody with.
Precisely. We are working to present them to all the subtlety of what they need to see and all the information we want them to understand.
That's really interesting. What kinds of techniques are you planning to use for that?
Oh, you know, the usual showy sorts of things like... And... Also...
I see. So, after you present this, then what happens?
The board flies back to their home planet on the outer rim of the solar system where they convene with the others and discuss what should be done.
Historically, it has taken up to 7 years for an agreement to be reached and a motion to be passed, but theoretically it should take significantly less time than that, since that was 7 years school time. I'd expect this to be resolved by sometime early next year, if not sooner.
That's good news, especially after all the time that things have stayed the same around here.
Yeah, good information. Thanks.
I think that's about all we have for you today. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Until next time, happy nightmares.
Welcome to Fairmont is a WKET production produced and performed by Colleen as Psyche and Alana Orion as Harmony, with the voicing talents of Cameron Knopp as Jack Carmody, Makenna Kramer as Misty, and Lydia as her zombified self.
And a thank you from us, as ourselves this time, for listening. We put a lot of effort into producing this, and we're glad someone's enjoying it. Tune in again in 2 weeks for the 5th installment of this year, Bored.
And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at FHS Media, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Welcome to Fairmont, so you can catch up on last year and stay updated on our latest content. Thanks. Happy nightmares.